The flashy, diamond Rolex-flaunting Brooklyn pastor who reported being robbed while preaching at his church in 2022 was arrested on federal charges Monday, unrelated to the July incident, for allegedly defrauding a parishioner, trying to extort a businessman and lying to the FBI, according to a federal indictment. Bishop Lamar Whitehead came to fame after he and his wife was robbed for their jewelry during service at his Brooklyn church in the summer of 2022. The bling was valued at an estimated $1 million, according to Mr. Whitehead. Whitehead and his wife were robbed at gunpoint in July 2022. Thieves allegedly stole jewelry, which Whitehead alleged to have included a Cuban link chain valued at $399,000 and a Rolex watch valued at $75,000. The event took place while Whitehead was leading services at his Leaders of Tomorrow International Church in Brooklyn and was streamed live. In September that year, 2 men were arrested and charged with the robbery. The suspects were also charged with conspiracy and possession of firearms. Following the robbery, Whitehead sued a local radio host for $50 million, claiming that the host defamed him during her program while making comments about the robbery. In 2021, Whitehead was sued in New York by a former congregant who claimed he defrauded her of $90,000.
He's accused of spending the money on luxury
in November
items.
2020,
Prosecutors say
Whitehead promised to assist Pauline
$5,000 from
Anderson in
another
improving
victim
her
and
credit
lied to
score as
agents
well as
about
purchasing
his
and
cell
renovating a
phones.
house in exchange for a $90,000 investment. Whitehead further promised to repay Anderson in full as well as $100 each month until the property was fully renovated. Further, Anderson claims in the complaint that in May 2021, Whitehead texted her and said the $90,000 was not an investment, but rather a campaign contribution that Whitehead was under no obligation to repay. Whitehead has denied all claims and the matter remains in court. Back in 2004, Suffolk County, New York police received complaints from 9 residents claiming that their identities were being used to purchase Range Rover cars. After arresting one suspect, the newly formed Identity Theft Investigation Unit began to pursue Whitehead, who had shared the same address as the first suspect. The following year, Whitehead took a $200,000 personal loan from conductor Maximo Brigado Daman and his son, Julio Brigado Young. According to a lawsuit, Whitehead promised to repay the loan in 1 month along with $25,000. Whitehead defaulted and Brigado Daman successfully sued Whitehead in 2008 for $306,000. As of 2022, Whitehead continues to owe Brigado Daman $261,000 following a court judgment. Later in 2005, Whitehead was living in Teaneck, New Jersey. Following a criminal complaint, he was arrested by Port Authority police in Upper Manhattan while driving a maroon Range Rover. Following the arrest, police discovered that Whitehead was operating an extensive fraud and identity theft operation to take out more than $2 million in loans and purchase motor vehicles. More than 50 victims were identified from states including Tennessee, Georgia, and New York. Whitehead was charged with multiple counts of identity theft and convicted in 2008. He served 5 years in Sing Sing Correctional Facility before being released in 2013. Whitehead filed for personal bankruptcy in 2006. As the pastor of Leaders of Tomorrow International Ministry, Whitehead allegedly defrauded one of his parishioners out of about $90,000 from her retirement savings over the course of at least 14 months beginning around April 2020, according to the indictment. The document said Whitehead told the parishioner he would use her money to help her buy a home and invest the rest of the money, but instead used it to purchase thousands of dollars of luxury goods and clothing, and for his own purposes. Whitehead never helped her buy a home, the court document says, and never returned her money despite her request. Last spring, Whitehead allegedly attempted to convince a businessman to loan him about $500,000 and grant him a stake in real estate transactions in exchange for obtaining favorable actions by the New York City government that would make them millions, something the pastor knew he could not obtain, the indictment says. Earlier this year, he also allegedly used threats of force against that same businessman to extort $5,000 from him. Whitehead has a relationship with Mayor Eric Adams, the mayor of New York City. Adams and Whitehead struck up a friendship that goes back to 2013. While Adams was Brooklyn Borough President, Whitehead appeared by his side at numerous high-profile events beginning in 2016. During Adams' campaign for borough president, Whitehead falsely claimed that he had created a collaborative justice initiative with the Brooklyn district attorney. In August 2013, Adams introduced Whitehead at a concert, calling the pastor "my good friend and good brother." Whitehead used this to start a bogus youth program. Whitehead ran for Brooklyn borough president in 2021. In 2022, Whitehead was thought to have worked with Adams to arrange the surrender of man suspected of shooting another rider on the subway. Whitehead arrived for the surrender at a Manhattan police precinct driving a grey Rolls-Royce and dressed in Fendi. Whitehead became well known for his ostentatious displays of wealth in his relatively modest neighborhood of Canarsie. In addition to owning a large wardrobe, Whitehead has been known to drive around New York in a Rolls-Royce. Along with his conviction for identity theft, Whitehead was arrested twice in 2015 on claims of child abuse and violating an order of protection. Charges in all cases were dismissed. Whitehead has recently been seen at youth basketball games screaming at minors and appearing intoxicated. Whitehead owns a mansion in Paramus, New Jersey. The home is 9,000 square feet with 6 bedrooms and 7 bathrooms. Whitehead purchased the home in 2019 for $1.6 million and put it on the market in 2022 for $2.9 million, making it the most expensive listing in the town at the time. In 2021, Whitehead, through his company Whitehead Estates LLC, completed the purchase of a series of apartments in Hartford, Connecticut. He took out a mortgage of $4.15 million for the purchase and borrowed an additional amount in February 2022, raising the total debt to $4.5 million. Whitehead appeared in court on fraud charges and was released on a $500,000 personal recognizance bond, according to attorney's office spokesman Nicholas Bias. As we allege today, Lamar Whitehead abused the trust placed in him by a parishioner, bullied a businessman for $5,000, then tried to defraud him of far more than that, and lied to federal agents, U.S. Attorney Damian Williams said in a statement. His campaign of fraud and deceit stops now. Whitehead's attorney, Dawn Florio, denied the accusations against Whitehead. As of today, the 45-year-old pastor who goes by Bishop was charged with wire fraud, attempted extortion, and making a material false statement, the U.S. Attorney's Office of the Southern District of New York announced. He faces up to 65 years in prison for his alleged crimes. Please like, comment and subscribe if you like the content. Till next time.